Hi, this is Wishop, and this is your reading for the full moon in Scorpio, which is coming up on May 10th at 5:42 p.m. Eastern Time. So I'm going to do the head, heart, belly, feet spread, which I'm sort of calling the head to toe spread because it's shorter. And because I explained it in last week's video, I'm not going to explain as much why I set it up the way I did. If you're interested, go into the April new moon video and there's more explanation there. I will, of course, put the link to the Geomancy playlist as well in the corner and also in the description. And the last thing I want to say is thank you to everybody who's watching the videos and who's liking and commenting. It's really appreciated. Okay, that's it. Let's get on to the cards. I've got the Geomancy glyphs, and then I also have an extra tarot card from the Whimsical tarot, and I have a little oracle card from the Buddha deck. So first I'm going to flip over the glyphs for our head, heart, belly, and feet. Okay, so I basically arranged these so that the only parts we see are the glyphs that we're dealing with. So head, heart, belly, feet. So what I see here is and I apologize, it might be a little noisy in the background. It's raining like crazy. We've had such a rainy spring and the rain just keeps coming. And maybe that's somewhat related to this Scorpio feeling, like there's rain and there's mud and it just keeps coming down. And maybe that's how you feel, like spring is never going to really spring, but it's already springing, if that makes any sense. In your head, you are looking for a little blessing, a stroke of luck. You're trying to keep your head above water. You're trying to have an optimistic attitude. You're being somewhat challenged in this or helped in this by other people. But the influence of other people in your thoughts and in your perception of situations is kind of strong right now. So that can be a really good thing if they're being supportive, and that can be a difficult thing if they're dragging down your optimism. This is saying that your thoughts need to be on optimism. You need to know that the spring does come and that the summer comes and that it is really happening. It just may not be on your time or my time. And that's infuriating. I mean, there's no way around it, but it is happening. And another sort of, I suppose, cautionary bit here is having carcer, which is for jail. It's, the Latin word for jail or confinement. That's in the heart position. So it says to me, you're sort of locking down your heart, if you will. You're being afraid to open up. And that could have to do with this sense of impacted optimism, because last week we had Fortuna Major, not last week, last moon, which was this great, beautiful vision. And now, it's a little less sparkly than it was, and it's being influenced by the input of other people. And that's causing your heart to close down a little bit. So there are a couple ways to look at this. There always are, right? These glyphs are mirrors and reflections. So let's talk about the polarities here. You can be closing down your heart in that you're not being open to possibilities. You're not being open-hearted. You have your thoughts so on the material that you're not able to embrace the more spiritual aspects of love or the more ethereal aspects of love. This is the opposite of being lighthearted, right? This is a seriousness in the heart. This is a heaviness in the heart. And so this may argue when we talk about this optimism that you kind of need to use your optimism and use gratitude for the blessings that you've received to drag your heart up, to lighten it up. I think that the upside of Cursor in this position, which could apply to you, is that your heart is also strong, which means that while other people, their influences or comments may have an effect on your mindset, they may be affecting you in the nature of anxieties, which are mental, and worries, which are mental, and fearing the worst, which is mental. But they're not affecting your heart's conviction. They're not affecting what you know you want. So you still want what you want, but you've got this uncertainty around whether you're going to get it. Letitia here in the belly, because this is watery, this is Pisces affected by Jupiter. This is this rainbow, right? But it's Pisces, so it's water energy. And it can be telling you that you're afraid that what you want is a pipe dream, is a fantasy, is a castle in the clouds. And that makes you afraid. And maybe that makes you feel like closing down a little bit because you don't want to get hurt. If this is what you really, really want, you're afraid it can't manifest. You know, this being an earth sign here, Saturn in Earth, so this is Capricorn, that it can't manifest. You think, I know what I want, and I know what I love, and I know what my conviction is, but I don't see how it can happen. It seems almost like an impossible dream if Letitia's in the belly. You want it. When you think about it, you can become entranced by the perception of it. And yet a part of you is trying to say, but that's not realistic. And meanwhile, in your feet, the position here, we have Puer, which is the boy. Letitia's joy, if I didn't say. Fortuna Minor is like little luck or lesser fortune. So it's a stroke of luck. This is boy. And he is feeling headstrong. This is Mars and Aries. He wants to take action. So what can be happening now is that you want to take action. It feels like the season for action. Definitely you should be, kicking ass and taking names on these goals. And yet a part of you has these deep fears that you don't know what the heck you're doing, that you don't even know what you're involved in, and that it doesn't matter how much you want it, it's never going to come, right? Because Cursor is things of long standing, right? So this is never and always. These are those kinds of generalizations that you're giving to your heart and saying never, always, instead of saying, like if Letitia were in the heart, it could happen. Things happen. Even though I'm in the middle of this torrential downpour, there could be a rainbow later on. There could be one tomorrow. It really could happen. And in fact, eventually it will. The rain will stop. Eventually the sun will come out. Eventually all the leaves will shake off their water and the flowers will start blooming again. And the tides will subside. But there is a little bit of a test of strength here. I see it. And a test that says, don't take action without solid conviction and without an optimistic mindset. That actions you take, that you take out of doubt or fear, out of feeling pressured by somebody else, those actions are not likely to lead to that dream conclusion that you want, that that real wish of your heart. That may be more difficult if you get pushed into taking actions prematurely by someone else, or even by your own sense of, what am I doing? If this is my heart's desire, what am I doing about it? I'm not doing enough. Or you're feeling a lack of optimism, and therefore, look, it's just going to be my goal in life, or my role in life rather, to always want this thing and to always be disappointed. That's just who I am. This is just it. This is the die that I was cast. This is my fate. And this is it. This is just who it is. So it doesn't matter what I do. It doesn't matter how I go about it, because everything will stay exactly the same. So finding where this could apply in your own life and dealing with those feelings is going to be really important, because the Scorpio full moon is a culmination, and it's saying, what of these deep fears and self-doubts do you want to get rid of? Because at the time of the Scorpio full moon, we also have the nodes shifting. So many astrologers have done great videos on the moon nodes shifting, but they're shifting from the Virgo Pisces axis, where they've been and where we've been dealing with old issues and health and routine and the past, and they're shifting to Leo and Aquarius. So with the North Node in Leo, boy, that's creative action. That is love and enjoyment and fun, and really trying to build things for the future and growing things like your baby. And in order to really make the most of that, it may be that these final doubts, or this final identity that you carry within yourself as a person who can't make it, as a person who is fighting a futile battle, as a person who's just thrashing around with unrealistic dreams or immature dreams, that identity might be what you need to give up, because Leo says, go out there with joy. With the dragon's head, which is in Geomancy is Caput Draconis, the dragon's head, in Leo, it's saying, go out and gobble things up with joy, with excitement, with good humor. And I don't think we can do that where our hearts are full of doubt and lack of confidence in ourselves, and they're feeling closed off and suspicious and that kind of thing. So let's see what the tarot and the oracle card have to say about it. Okay, here we go. All right, this is Eight of Swords in reverse. Now, frequently we think of the Eight of Swords as being the woman bound up, and she's got a blindfold on, and she's sort of gated in by swords. She's not being pinned by them, but she's somewhat restricted by them. In this deck, it's Rip Van Winkle. And Rip Van Winkle falls asleep for 100 years and goes off into fairyland. And this is sort of saying, actually, don't sleep at the wheel. Don't become hopeless and fall asleep. I think of the Eight of Swords in the traditional deck as actually being a card of alienation, because frequently, or at least in the Rider deck, the woman is separated from the castle, and her thoughts are making her feel alienated from the people in the castle on the hill. She's apart from them. She may feel shunned by them or put aside by them. She may be comparing herself with them, and that toxic comparison is creating a sense of alienation. Rip Van Winkle goes to sleep while he's basically getting away from his complaining wife. So we have issues where we've got this influence of other people and a real need to respect ourselves, to be close to people we love, but not to feel alienated from people who are supportive of us, but to set good boundaries with people who aren't. I'll just quickly say this, and the card is energy, and we all need it, and we all love it, and I wish it for you. So for this full moon, rock on with your bad self.